Welcome to New Inspirations, a new series that we're doing on this channel to help find new up and coming artists and just peer into their creative world, their passion, their process, and their future projects. On this episode, we'll be interviewing Mood, an up and coming animator and illustrator here on YouTube. Has an entirely different set of inspirations from older generations. He's inspired by the likes of Gumball and anime instead of Picasso and the greats. So let's see his own unique take on the art world, shall we? In the art that you create, what differentiates like a good animation from the bad animation? Like, how do you grade what's good and what's bad?
Animation is really like open. Like you can really work out of the box, because like stuff like choppy animation was not liked until recently. Because Spider Verse, for example, like made that work, and it's become an art style. Like you can basically make anything work as long as you do it well, as long as you put your heart and dedication into it. However, I mean, you can tell when stuff is like poorly made, Like for example, I don't know, stuff like the animation is inconsistent, movement like it's just too artificial, one has to take account of stuff like gravity, like falling ball, for example. It picks up speed as it goes. It doesn't always move consistently, you know.
Yeah. So that you said that you're inspired by shows like Gumball and anime, and you try to like copy those art styles in the drawings and the animations that you create. Do you ever pick up bad habits from when you're trying to imitate those styles?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, that happens. So when one first of all, when getting your own art style, you're always gonna have to copy someone. Okay, the whole point of art is copying other people, even if one doesn't want to. You always end up copying other artists because it's just like we're humans. That's what we do. But however, sometimes we can end up getting some bad habits. For example, when I was watching Gumball and I like got a lot of inspiration off of that show because man, that shit was my whole childhood. So I I like got used to drawing the hands like they do in Gumball, like just like loving hands,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it cost me a lot of work and a lot of time to start to learn how to draw hands properly. So, you should always like venture out and just like not stay into your own zone because you never know what bad habits you might pick up.
So, how long have you been doing art?
I'd say I mean, I've been doing art since I was like three, but I've been doing art since I was like three, but start taking it seriously. I'd say like the day I decided I was gonna do this for a living, probably about 7 years ago, probably.
Okay. So, between then and now, what do you think was the biggest improvement in that time?
Just overall practice. Practicing is key. I mean, people. I mean, I know one is like people are lazy. I was lazy. I'm really lazy. I don't really like working when like on stuff that I don't really want to do. But sometimes you just gotta do it. And practice is the only way. I feel like is the only way. Is like the best way to get better. And not only that, watching other artists. You get inspiration. You not only get inspiration, but you learn things from other people. And learning is like, and applying what you learn is like the main thing that art is about.
So, how do you go about studying other artists?
Okay, so I just like to watch the content other people make. For example, let's say someone releases a cool animation that takes some work and I really like it. I'm gonna see it and I'm gonna if I really like it, I might just like analyze it frame by frame, to see like what kind of techniques they use and stuff like that. If you really the animators and like content creators you like, you can really learn from them and other stuff.
Have you ever started a project with an idea that you thought was great at first, but then you halfway through you realized it was just bad and you need to stop it?
Yeah, yeah, that will happen once. Back in around 2023, I was thinking of starting a webcomic. I still want to start a webcomic, just not with that same idea. So the whole point of the webcomic was to like someone trapped in their own dreams, no, right? Like trapped in their own dreams and they couldn't wake up, and just like stuff happened, But I don't know. I just like got an art block so bad, and I stopped working on it, and I just didn't know what to put next in the story. Like, what can I do to like continue this? So I never ended up publishing it. I mean, I still have like I think I still have some drawings and like sketches on a previous sketchbook around somewhere around my house, but I don't know. I just didn't like it, the idea much at the end.
A lot of
I felt like
people, go ahead.
I just felt like it could use some more work.
A lot of people say that in art, the idea doesn't matter. Any idea can be a good project, and it's just about the work you put into it. Do you agree with that?
Okay, that is okay. That's a good question. That is a really good question. So the thing is, ideas, yes, ideas can be good, and ideas can also be bad. However, when you have an idea that is like really, like, let's say something like you just have an idea like a knight that is going to save a princess from the tower, let's say that is super cliche. I mean, it is. That doesn't necessarily make it bad, but it's not going to stand out. However, more original ideas like uh, let's use an example. Like, for example, Cyberpunk. That's a really good idea. I really like that show. It has a really good plot and stuff like that. So when you make an idea, like, you want it to stand out, there's so many people already making projects and about a lot of stuff. So if you don't stand out, I'm sorry, no one's gonna want to watch it. I mean, because you're just gonna be like another one in the crowd. So yeah, it does influence, like, the amount of work you put in is really important. However, no amount of work can say the most important thing is to get seen by people, like to be seen, to stand out. If you don't stand out, the work you put in is not gonna work. So I'd say it's about 50-50. Because some stories with cliches are really popular and all that, like stuff, let's say stuff like the basic shonen protagonist, just like going on a trip, let's say stuff like Hunter x Hunter, Pokemon, that kind of stuff. It's a really known cliche, but it's popular. I mean, you can make it work, it's just hard.
So, in past projects that you've done, how do you get these ideas, and how do you decide if they're good enough?
Okay, so first of all, what I like to do is just observe the world around me. Sometimes when it comes to like individual drawings, I just like live my own life, and I just get inspiration from what I see, what I do, what I hear, everything. When it comes to big projects like the webcomic, I mostly get inspired off of stuff I like. Stuff like movies you see, books you read, in any media that you consume can inspire you to make something alike. Not exactly, of course, it has to be a combination of different types of media. I mean, if you just base it off of a single movie, it's probably just going to be a carbon copy of that movie. I mean, not necessarily, but yeah. But I just like, when it comes to like big projects, I just like to do stuff like centered around what I like and like what I'm hyper fixated on at the moment.
Do you find that inspiration can come from odd places? For example, I was talking to Poke Music, and he said that he started making music because of his daughter really liked Pokemon. Do you ever find that inspiration comes from weird places that aren't really related to your art?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you can get inspiration from basically anything. Sometimes instead of like just living life, you just, let's say you have a conversation with a friend, and you just happen to mention that friend just happens to mention that he's been really thinking about something recently, and you start to implement that into your own story, stuff like that. Little things that happen in your life can just like you can just get inspiration from them. For example, let's say you had a dream, right? You had a dream, and you just remember it was like a really bad nightmare, okay? And but you liked a specific part of that nightmare. You just thought it was well written, so you're gonna put that in. You're gonna get inspiration from that, and you're gonna put that in your project.
Yeah. Well, once you have your idea, do you ever find that it's hard to make it like fully realize? You know?
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Art takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
Mhm.
Mostly time, because stuff like resources, you have most of them. You just like you if you're good, you can just do and make anything work. You can just make work with a pencil and it works. I mean, you can just straight up draw on your phone with your finger. That resources are not a problem. The biggest problem is probably time and work, because it takes a lot of time. Especially animation takes a lot of time to work out, because you have to draw frame by frame, and you can do low frames per second, because unless you want it to look choppy, which you don't really want like most of the time. Well, you have to work. And one time when I was like working, I was like thinking about releasing a. I really like this song, right? I think it was, if I'm not wrong, this song was um, it was Gorilla song. I don't remember which song it was. I think it was Melancholy Hill. I don't remember. So I really liked this Gorilla song, and I wanted to. I liked it so much to the point I wanted to animate and release a music video of it, like a fan made music video.
Yeah.
I started working it, and man, was it hard. It took a lot of time. I just quit because I was too busy with school and stuff to like even have time to work in it. Had worked on it for like, I'd say about 6 months, and I hadn't even got into the first 30 seconds of the song, because I dreamed, I had made up in my mind something so great and awesome that my abilities just couldn't live up to them.
Yeah, yeah.
With the I feel I believe that when the point in which an artist can actually say they're the best is when their own abilities can live up to their imagination. That's when an artist can actually say that they're best.
Who is the best in your opinion?
Oh man, I don't really know a lot of artists, man.
Okay.
I don't really know a lot of artists,
Yeah, that's
because I don't
fine.
I'm not really like, active in that community, I am, but like I don't know the actual names. Like if you want me to say like some painter from like the Renaissance, I'm not gonna be able to tell you, bro.
So you mentioned that animation takes a lot of time. I've
Yeah.
tried animation in the past, hours just to get a couple of seconds. How do you balance that time it requires to learn and practice animation with, your daily life and other things that you need to take attention to?
It's hard. Also because I'm a student, like I'm a student, so I also have to balance stuff like my social life, school, homework, and also art. I can't like you also you something some people they like to like focus first on their life and leave art like aside so they can focus on it later. Don't do that. Don't
Mhm.
do that, because you're not gonna have you're not gonna be skilled enough to go on. I started to do that like around, let's say, 2023 to 2025, to like early 2025. I was like leaving art aside because I just wanted to finish this. Like, I was thinking I'll finish school and then I'll go work on art. Don't do that because you're not gonna have the skills necessary to work on the art you want to work on. So balancing all that, it's really tricky. It's really tricky. But first of all, don't think art is a chore. I used to think art was a chore. It's not, because it's something that you enjoy. If it's something that you enjoy, do it. Don't do it like as a work. Do it on your free time. Do it when then you have nothing to do and you just want to have fun. If you truly like art, do it. Do
Mm.
it then, because you're just not gonna have time. I mean, if you treat it like some sort of work or chore, first of all, you're gonna grow bored of it, and second of all, it's gonna be even harder to like integrate it in your life, because you're gonna have, let's say, work, studies, and free time and art. Isn't it just better to combine both free time and art? It is. You're gonna have more time, and not only that, but you're actually gonna start to like enjoy it if you don't treat it like a chore. So yeah, mainly even though I have trouble, I still have trouble like integrating art into my life. My main suggestion is to like treat it like a hobby, like your free time. Use it on your free time, and not don't treat it like a chore. Don't treat it like a second job, because it's just not gonna work out.
Well, what is the goal of your art journey? Like, what's the end goal that you have envisioned for yourself that in an ideal world you'll be able to achieve?
My end goal is to have my name on the credits of an animated project, like a big animated project. Let's say something like, I don't know, like a big movie, something like releasing like Pixar, stuff like that.
Mm.
That's what I want. That is my end goal, to have my name written on the credits of a movie or show.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, for that you'll need a pretty big resume, a lot of projects. And when you're constantly churning out projects, you're bound to come to a creative block. Have you ever been? Have you ever had a creative block where you just don't have any ideas?
Oh man, have I had creative blocks? So that is the most common thing that happens to any artist. No artist, not even no, not music artists, not filmmakers, no one that has art like can like avoid completely creative blocks. Everyone has them. The thing is, whenever I just have a creative block, I used to just like go with it, just like not do art because I and use creative blocks as an excuse. I don't recommend you do that. You shouldn't do that, because if you don't do art and use like that as an excuse, you're not gonna be able to get out of that creative block. The only way I believe to get that you can use to like get out of a creative block is just do art,
Mm.
because doing art not only makes you better, but it also gives you your own inspiration to get out of that. Even if you don't know what to draw, I mean, there's so many tools today, stuff like you can just like draw a fan art of your like favorite character, let's say. You can just like listen to music and make a beat that sounds like that. You can literally, nowadays you can literally just ask ChatGPT for something to draw. We're living in a world that has all the tools for us to work and to like release art, to work with it, and to get out of creative blocks. So we have to use them.
So let's talk about where you are right now as an artist. What's something that you're working on or recently finished?
Well, right now, it's not really a big project. I'm just working on my the first animation I plan to release to social media, mainly YouTube, because I even though I've been animating and drawing for a big while, I just haven't like, let's say, I just haven't shown the internet my stuff. I don't know why. I just didn't like. Maybe I was like afraid of people judging me, you know, because I know I'm not the best. But at a point you gotta realize you're never gonna be the best. Someone is always better than you, so you just gotta keep going. People are always there's always gonna be someone that's better than you. So you gotta work and not let it get you down. You just gotta keep going. So right now I'm working on a little animation, like I'd say maximum 1 minute long. It's really short, just about the beach. Because I this summer vacation I went to the Florida beach with my family, and I got a lot of inspiration from the seagulls at the place. So it's basically just like an animation titled Seagull, about a seagull that steals other people's food. It's really short. It's not the biggest project I've done, but it's a start. It's the first thing I'm gonna post, and I hope it gets some attention. I mean, even if it doesn't, it's fine. That's not gonna stop me from making art. I love it. But I do hope I get seen by some more people because, it would be cool to get like praise and like suggestions and stuff.
Okay. So, whenever you start on a project, how do you go from nothing to an idea to the product? Do you have a process?
Yes. So, first of all, most of my projects have been inspired by other media, as I said before. So, first of all, I start enjoying what I'm doing. Like, I start enjoying, like, let's say, the video game I'm playing, the music I'm listening to, stuff like that. And I think, this would go. I really like this theme, like this story, this tells, and I really like some aspects of it. What if I could like implement it into my own stuff? Like you always, the first thing is like thinking about. The first thing is thinking about how can you implement this into your own art style, into your own work. How can you take this concept and mold it to be yours? So let's say when I was making the fan made music video for Melancholy Hill, I was thinking, okay, I don't really want to animate just like I don't really just want to animate like like the gorilla's lore, like in what part this song is set on, because the official gorillas has already done that. So I wanted to make so along the song I made my own story that made sense with the song to include in the music video. You just sometimes just have to look at what aspects you like, and you have to think, my art is not like this. My art is different. So how can I make this work on on my art? And
Mhm.
after that, you're just gonna. I feel like the first few months or few weeks of starting a project, you're just gonna be hyped up. You're gonna be working on it super hard, and you're really gonna love it. That's not dedication. That is like inspiration. You're inspired to do it. However, inspiration runs out. What you have to do is have dedication to still work on it even after you don't want to, because you gotta finish stuff. I mean, if you don't, you're just not gonna have you're just not gonna have like the skills and the dedication to finish a future projects. So yeah, my main plan when I started to think about making a project is just getting aspects from various media and trying to mold it as my own. Like I know what my art looks like. I know what my art is. So how can I make that look like an act like my art?
You've mentioned hard work and dedication a lot. How do you find all this energy to put it into your work?
Just have to be strong, man. I mean, there's a lot of you just have to not be lazy. I mean, you have to understand stuff like if I don't finish this, let's say I'm not gonna get have good things to show off when I get to college. Stuff like that, you know. like end goals, let's say. Like if I don't finish this, I'm not gonna be able to post it, and then I won't get recognized as an artist online. Stuff like that. Like if you really want the end result of that, you have to work for it, even if you don't want to, because you're gonna enjoy the end result. I mean, you're gonna enjoy like the consequence of working hard and making what you want. Because even though if you don't want to, there's sometimes there's just things you gotta do, even if you don't want to. So you just gotta be hard headed for that kind of stuff. You just gotta like let's say, what's the word? You just gotta put it in there, you know?
Mm. What's a better feeling, starting a project or finishing it?
Oh, let me think. Okay, the thing about about starting a project is when you start a project, you just feel like the god of your whatever art you're working on. So you're um let's say you're a filmmaker like yourself. You're starting up to work on a film, and man, you feel like the top of the world, right? You just feel like you're working so hard and you're gonna get this done and you're amazing. However, then it runs out and you just feel bad. But when you finish it, it's a different feeling. When you finish a project and you actually post it, you just feel complete. Like there was like you had to do that. You had to get it out there for people to see that. You have to share your art with the world. So after finishing a project, you just feel it's I believe it's a better feeling than starting one,
Mm.
because it feels when you reach completion, you just feel like, oh wow, I can actually do this. I can actually keep working on this, and I have like the tools, and I have like the talent, the abilities. So why won't I keep working on it? I want to keep working on it. That's the feeling you get after finishing a project. I feel like whatever feeling you get that pushes you to make even more art is just always better.
Whenever I work on a project, there's always a million little compromises that I need to make that don't exactly fit my original vision. And by the end of it, I see all the flaws and I hate it. Do you ever feel like this?
What kind of compromises do you mean?
Well, like, for example, you just can't get the lighting to look exactly like how you want it, or you don't know how to get the perspective right out of a shot. So you have to make it look a little different. And, you know,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. By the way, I'm sorry for this, but I kind of stalked you, man. I mean, I watched your YouTube and your stuff, your videos. I really liked your short film live. I mean, it's abstract, but I really liked it. You have some. It was really good. I especially like the transitions. I really like them. So I know what you mean. I saw it on your own film and like your own content. I saw it were that I felt like some things were like, let's say just felt like it could have been better. I get that all the time. That happens to me all the time. Stuff like layering, for example. Let's say you're drawing and you just are working on the layers wrong. You're gonna have to reduce a lot of stuff, because the thing I do is I imagine while I draw, like I picture the drawing while I'm doing it. So yeah, that's real problematic. That's a bad habit of mine, but it's fun, but it's a bad habit, because if you don't have a plan, it's gonna be harder to correct your mistakes. Also, stuff like in animating, stuff like, let's say, audio. Man, like let's say you made the animation, you drew all the frames, you finished it. Now you want to put some audio in, and it's out of sync. It doesn't work. That's why you always gotta test it. Like you always gotta test it, every like after working on animation, like you draw the frames, and every couple of times you gotta recheck that it syncs with the sound, because if not, you're either gonna have to animate it all over again, add some more frames, or record a new sound. So What I like to do is I finish the animation, I play the animation, and while it's playing, I record. So it's completely in sync. I really like to do that. That's really good. It's a good tip, but it's sound is audio is probably one of the things that you're gonna have to that people are gonna have like the biggest problem with on animation because it's not syncing audio is not easy.
Let's talk about animation. There's a lot of different aspects to it: audio, editing, drawing. How do you balance learning all of those different skills at the same time?
You have to have like a plan to follow, you know? Like I recommend starting out with drawing the frames. I feel like that is like the starting point, you know?
Okay.
Um after that you just gotta make the frames work together, you know? Like consistency. Make them coherent. And out is as I already said, out is the final step for me always. It's just better that way. If you want to add more stuff, like let's say, I don't know, like some animators like to combine like real life with their own animation. I think that's really cool. That is really cool. Actually, I'm using like pictures, like actual picture I took as backgrounds in my beach animation because I think that's really cool. So yeah, you if you want to do that, you also have to do the process of taking pictures and other stuff. However, that's not so common. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have to draw the backgrounds. So yeah, it's your pick, honestly. I would just rather draw the backgrounds first and then add the characters in. You know, it's just easier that way. So you can actually picture them and make them do stuff like interact with the background. That's really cool.
When you animate or draw, do you try to go outside of what you're usually comfortable with, or do you usually just stay in your art style and try to refine that?
Well, first of all, my art style is like a never ending, like warping monster. It's just like changing constantly. I mean, it's always had like a certain theme, you know, but it changes a lot depending of what media I'm consuming, what do anything, literally anything can change my art style. And I feel like that's true for most 2D artists. Most people, even though they try to remain inside their own box, inside their own, like their own case, that is their art style, it's just hard. You're gonna learn other things. You're gonna get inspired by other things. You're gonna end up applying those same things to your own art style. So whether you like it or not, your art style is gonna be in constant evolution. So you don't really have like an exact art style. I mean, I don't feel like we actually have one. However, you do have some habits that like are consistent always, and that is the thing like that you are consistent with in your animation. For example, stuff like how I draw heads. I have the inspiration I get for in my myself for drawing like head shapes is mostly based off of like those little chibi drawings that you see in manga. Like the when they draw like the characters like little, that kind of stuff. Mostly based on that, the my head shapes. Hair, the way I draw hair is like based mostly on layers. I draw hair by layers. On the same layer, of course, not little layers. Like I draw first that part of the hair, then I draw another on top of it, and I just feel like it works better that way. You know? So
Yeah.
because you don't want like your drawings to look flat. You know? I mean, sure, it's 2D, but you don't really want it to look like you really want it to look natural. Like you don't want it to stay on a grid. So yes, you pick up habits along the way that I just really hard to erase. But sometimes you don't gotta erase them. Sometimes they're just a part of your arsenal. That's fine. And those are the ones that are hard. That are most people just don't manage to like stop doing.
Do you think in art that you need technical ability? You need to study every detail to be good at it, or do you think you can just go with the flow and still be a great artist?
Technique is really important. That is true. However, the most important thing to have when with art, I believe, is imagination. If you don't have enough imagination to work on what you want to work, you're not gonna be able to work on it, man. I mean, just you're just gonna end up copying other people's stuff or either working for other people's stuff, and you're not gonna be able to be original. If you lack imagination, you're not gonna be able to make your own stuff up. Going with the flow is what I mostly do, even though I feel, but that's because I already know I already know most of the technique because of research and stuff like that. But if you are starting out, I recommend first of all studying other people's work, watching other people's work and studying it. You know, after that you're gonna wanna actually get into technique, into like actual stuff. Stuff like newbies don't usually do stuff like sketches and all that. But they're really important. They help you lay out your character.
Mm.
They help you lay out the movements that they're gonna make. Stuff like that. So what you really want to do is just like hmm, let's say what you really want to do is just go on. Like you want to learn, but you also want to like interpret that learning, like implement it into your own flow. Like when you want to learn to the point that you can go with the flow while also using some of those techniques along the way. So I do recommend first of all going with the flow first, so you can like get the hang of it. And after that, when you want to get serious about it, you gotta learn technique.
Have you ever got an idea to do something, but then you realize that it was just too far beyond your skill level and that you couldn't do it even if you tried?
Yeah, as I said before, with the Melancholy Hill fan made music video, I quit it because I realized I didn't have the abilities to do that. I didn't have the skill. I mean, we always imagine in our heads like a big ass animation, like a super film, like something really cool that we want to do. But sometimes you just don't have the skill to make that stuff. You just don't. So you end up giving up. You end up like you just rage quit. Like you just end up mad because you can't do that, and that's fine. It's fine. No one is perfect. There's no ultimate artist. Like if you asked, let's say Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh wait, that's an artist. My bad. That's like an actor, I think. My bad.
Uh,
Okay, if you
Da
asked
Vinci,
like
I think.
Picasso, if you asked Picasso to draw, let's say an actual like super realistic picture of a human, he might have some trouble because he draws abstract. He painted abstract paintings. So when if you ask him to make a proper human being like realistically, he's probably gonna have some trouble. That's what I mean. So you really don't want to get caught up in thinking that you're just never gonna get that skill, and you don't want to get caught up in thinking that that you're like bad because you can do that. Everyone has like different things they focus on. So even if you don't have that skill, if your skill can live up to what you imagined, that's fine. You can still work on some other stuff. You just have to lay the groundwork and you like think, if can I do this? Am I skilled enough to do this? That's the first thing.
What resources do you use to help improve your skill level?
Um, well, as I said before, mainly just like seeing other artists' things, like studying other artists' things, and resource. If you mean resources, like I mainly used to draw traditional. Also, don't get when you start out drawing digital or you start out drawing traditional, you should not get get like trapped in one over the other. It is not good because I started out drawing traditional. I've drawn traditional my whole life, just a pencil and a paper. And man, was it hard to get into digital art? It was really hard. The concepts are different, layers are something new, everything, a lot of stuff is new, and you don't understand it. So you have to have a little bit of both. You have to balance them out, because if you stay too much in digital, you're not gonna be able to make good traditional art, and you stay too much in traditional, you're not gonna be able to make good digital art. So, and each one has an influence over the other. So you wanna be able to make both. Right now, I do know I that right now I have more skill, far by far more skill in traditional. I mean, it's what I started with. It's what I've done my whole life. But digital is, but I'm still growing on digital. I mean, and that's fine. That's fine. You don't really have to be the best in both, as long as you can make what you want in either of them.
Well, that's all the questions I have. So, do you have any advice that you want to give up to upcoming artists?
All right. Well, first of all, don't get too caught up in yourself. If you think you can do something, just work. You can't do something, just work towards it. Just keep working. You will eventually, if you keep working, you'll eventually be able to make it. Some things obviously you can't recreate, you can't make. Some things you just imagine and are a bit of general wildest dreams. But still, if you believe something is possible, and you and then work towards it, if you want it, just work towards it. Keep drawing, keep animating, keep working on it, because eventually you're gonna get the skill level necessary for that. Also, if you ever have trouble with anything, just don't give up. Giving up is not good. You're just gonna just keep being dedicated. If you give up on a project, I regret giving up on many projects. But if you give up on a project, you're just not gonna. It's gonna be really hard to get back on another one, because you're just gonna think, "Oh, I wasn't able to finish the first one. How am I gonna? That doesn't mean I'm gonna finish this one either." So you just have to keep being dedicated, even if you don't want to. There's some things you have to do. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that reminds me of something my teacher used to say, that confidence without skill is always better than skill without confidence. You need to be able to push
Exactly.
yourself forward.
Exactly. That's a really good phrase. So yeah, that's all for me.
Do you have any social media you want to share, future projects?
Yes, I do actually, and I'm gonna give it to you so you can put it in the description, because I don't really feel like saying, I feel like it's just not necessary for me to say like my entire social media here.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Uh, so is there anything else, or?
No, we're good. Thank you for hearing me out though. Thanks.
No, I think it was really great. I learned a lot from this, and I can't believe you actually liked my short film that I made.
Yeah, I mean it's abstract, but I really like the transitions, man. Like when you like put the food and just like get into grass somehow. I mean, I think it was really well edited. I mean, compared to your other videos, I saw it and I was just thinking, man, this guy improved.
Yeah.
This guy did some work.
The funny thing is, I had 2 weeks to work on a short film, and I was originally planning to do like a crime short film, but
Yeah,
like I couldn't.
I saw like in your video about like, how to get like, I think it was how to make a film or how to get inspiration or something. I saw that video and you were talking about crime films. I remember.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how the script should finish, so I just abandoned that project. And I had 3 days before I said that I was going to upload it. So I just recorded that short film really quickly. And yeah, I'm really surprised that you actually liked it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I think one of the strong points is that you didn't actually talk, because you don't really have the best resources right now. Like your mic isn't exactly the best. So
Yeah.
yeah, that can make up some trouble. That can end up like actually making your film worse, because if you have a bad mic, I mean, it's gonna be tough to record some voice acting, and like to actually record you acting. So I think that's a good point, because you worked along with the resources you had. That is really good,
Mm,
because if you limit yourself to what you have, and you made the best of it. When you get more resources, like a better mic, a better camera, stuff like that, you can actually just make even better stuff. So yeah.
mm. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, sure. See you later. By the way, make sure to follow, to subscribe to Passion Inc. on YouTube.